pretty weird for you.
Very.
That could be him.
Oh yeah, there he is.
You really think he's working with Kanye West?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
The only West I acknowledge here is the direction of left. And that is because this story is about to go left really quickly, Kanye West. More like Kanye. No. No yays. Thank you to Sandra for the recommendation. Apologies if I've mispronounced your name. You're here with H, but you're also here with Lucille and Kid Cole. We start off with Nev and Max spitting some hot bars just in case Kid Cole is ready to produce a new album. Yes, he's a producer slash artist slash music maker. I really don't understand. And you won't understand by the end of this video. But he's in music or something.
New episode, Catfish, yeah. Season 3, it's pretty crazy. Mac is my man. He's crazy and sometimes lazy.
Enough of the hot bars, guys. Oh, they're flames. Oh, baby, so hot in me.
Hey, that was weird.
Enough of that. Because it gets hotter when they receive an email from Lucille, who needs help with her fraudulent friend. Despite living in Philadelphia, this particular story is not going to bring sunshine into Lucille's life. The sunny has gone, alright?
I've had a little brother slash big sister relationship for a little over a year now with a music producer named Kid Cole.
So basically, she's friends with like a child version of J. Cole. Kid. Throw the kid in there. Like when you teach them how to swim, throw the kid in there. Oh, it doesn't get better, I promise. Seriously though, this might be the first catfish story that we've covered on this channel that is friendship based. Like we usually look at the romance side of catfishing and romance scams, so dare I say it's refreshing to see a platonic case of catfishing. I'd rather not see any catfishing, but, you know, you take what you get. However, if this story dares descend into romance after it being described as a sibling-like relationship, I will jump out of this window. You understand?
I found out that he was the youngest music producer signed to Kanye West's label, Good Music.
Ooh, a superstar in the making, some might say. I'm a little sweaty in my britches right now. I will ask though, is this a case of this catfish being too big, too famous for regular, degular, schmegular civilians? Because granted, he's perhaps not the most well-known in the industry, but is he still going to reach out to be friends with regular, degular, schmegulars? I just don't think so. Maybe in the romance sense, this relationship would be too good to be true, but platonically, maybe there's a chance there that people could actually be friends with someone in the industry. They started talking to one another, if I remember correctly, on Twitter. Great place to meet people. Not a cesspool of bigotry in any way, shape or form. It's a great platform. And she tells him she's a fan, and after some messaging back and forth, she gives her number to him, because that's what you do when you are a fan of someone. You give them your number. She says if he's ever in Philly, they can hang out. But I'll tell you, put the cheesesteak down, okay? Because I'm a bit confused here. Maybe it's just me. But again, he's not a full-blown celebrity, right? I guess, look, if you're working with Kanye and all that, sure, you have some claim to say you're some sort of celebrity. But again, touching on the fact that he's not that well-known, is this plausible? How common is it for someone to message someone else, say that they're a fan, and then give their number and say, if you ever want to hang out, here you go? I find that a bit odd. I'm not gonna lie to you. See this John Cena hoodie right now? I can't see myself doing that, ever. Like, if Jessie J somehow was to ever be in the vicinity of my living quarters, I'm not gonna message her, say, if you're ever in the area, let's hang out. What's going on there? Maybe in a more realistic example, I do like a lot of artists who are not well known, that crazily big, do you know what I mean? But I'm never gonna message them saying, here's my number. I find that a bit odd, but I guess maybe there's nothing too malicious about it. You know, Lucille's shooting her shot, kind of. If you want to get into places, if you want to get into certain networks, you got to put your foot out there, I guess. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I do find it odd that she's just willy-nilly chucked her number out there.
I didn't think he would call because he was a celebrity and I was just a fan.
Okay, so that's put everything I've just said in the literal bin, maybe. So he is a celebrity, or at the very least, he's a small celebrity when compared to someone like Kanye West, I guess. Maybe this is too good to be true, actually, because she gets a call from someone by the name of Miguel, who says that Kid Cole wants to invite her to his birthday party. Ooh. As a special guest. Now, not to piss on Lucille's bonfire here, alright? But why would she be the special guest? No doubt, Lucille's probably a great person, alright? She's probably lovely, bubbly. And in this episode, she does give off very bubbly energy. I'd be friends with her, no doubt. But why would she be a special guest? They have no relations, which is not a euphemism, okay? We're not talking about the intimate type of relations. They have no relations outside of just direct messaging one another. So, like, now we're diving head first into what the shit territory. She accepted the offer, unfortunately, and then Miguel flipped the entire script on its head. Miguel turned this exciting moment into one of confusion.
After that conversation, Miguel went on to ask me if I could help him with making some calls for an event in Washington, D.C.
So Miguel, who's like the manager or representative of sorts of Kid Cole, has hired Lucille, seemingly on the spot here.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Her helping out for one day turned into 2 weeks, and she even fronted the cash, the moolahs, to pay for Kid's security team and driver. Lucille, you see now, we've obviously stepped foot, like 1 foot, 1 pinky toe into what the shit territory earlier on. But like now, we're like whole body inside it.
I really need your help in finding out if he is who he says he is. Who knows how many other people he has done this to.
Let's dial this up to 100 right now. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care if you're a fan of someone or not. You get presented the opportunity to work for them, but it involves you fronting the cash as well. That is a massive red flag. Alright, willy-nilly, you're not going to be offered a job, a seeming internship. Work for one day, we see how it goes. That's not going to happen unless you've actually applied through a job board of some kind. But I must stress, you know, job boards can also have scams on them. So just watch out for red flags, okay? And going one step further, any conversation, you know, job-related or not, that involves money being fronted, money up front, which that's what that means. Get a grip of myself. Red flag. We see it a lot in romance scams as well, where the engineer in question decides, hey, you need to pay for my equipment that I need. No, when it concerns the other person's job, why are you paying? Let's play devil's advocate here in some way. Obviously, a different example is your friend wants a drink from the shop, perhaps. Alright, you go buy your friend a drink. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to someone who's seemingly famous and whatnot and has these celeb friends, etc., why are you paying? Go to your rich friends, bro. I don't care if Lucille's been invited to a party here. You're still a stranger because you've not met this person face to face. See, now we're getting into scam vibes. You know, now we're getting into... It stinks of like romance scam, which please do not descend into because we're still on sibling terms here. But now we can see these red flags that we see from online scammers. Lucille jumps on a call with Nev Max and she says that she would have been compensated $1,000 for all her work, But shock horror, that never happened. And again here, a word of warning. If you are being approached with an opportunity like this, or any sort of situation where you're gonna get money back in advance later down the line, not in advance, because that would mean you get paid beforehand. You get what I'm saying.
Do you even listen to yourself when you talk?
Don't take it. If you've got the money to pay me back later, you pay me back right now. You pay me right now. And then maybe I'll consider doing whatever it is that you're asking me to do. Let that be a warning. Get that money up front, baby. You're worth every single penny. She explains that she set up hotel rooms for Kid, concerts, but there's one appearance that she mentioned that I find a bit odd.
I had set up appearances for Kid at high schools.
Now look, I'm not saying he has no business being in a high school, but why? What is the reason he would be in a high school? I'd also love to know why she's doing this. Like, I get it. Miguel has approached her, offering her this job. But why her? You know, where's Miguel gone in this situation? Is he not the manager? What is he doing? Is he chilling? Right? Is he sat back with like a coconut in his hands, sipping off of the drink of delusion? I don't know what's gone on here. Miguel must be taking a break or something. Put down the Kit Kat and come do your job, bro. Miguel well and truly does not put the Kit Kat down, because Kid now starts asking for some pretty unreasonable things, and yes, they were unreasonable in the first hand, but now they're stinking of unreasonable.
Miguel text me frantic, talking about you need to get him food in the middle of the night, sending him money.
I know he's got Kid in his name, but he's not actually a kid. Like, get your own bloody food? What's happening there? And not food that is bloody, by the way. I feel like sometimes the Britishness sometimes clouds what I say. Not talking about a food of blood here. Just want to point that out there. Like, this is ludicrous. And not the rapper, since we're talking about the music industry.
This is great banter.
It's ludicrous that she started doing this work in the first place, but then when you start questioning about wanting food, XYZ, you know, come wipe my ass, if that's where we're going to head towards, you're part of Kanye West's label. How can you not afford any of these things? Like, I've heard of the music industry ripping off individuals, ripping off artists, where they literally see very minimal money for the amount of work that they put in. You know, from streaming services, the manager sucks the life out of them and all that stuff. But this doesn't sound like a label I'd want to be a part of if I can't even afford food, bro. She starts listing off astronomical numbers that are being invoiced because of Kid wanting these services from these services. What?
Good job, little buddy.
The security team's bill comes to over $13,000, and obviously that includes hotel costs for them as well. And then the driver comes to also over $8,000. Shock horror, well, once this is all happening, Miguel has vanished. Miguel has done his best to turn himself into the manager of an artist into a magician. He's gone. Thankfully, Lucille didn't pay these bills, because I know there are a whole host of catfish victims out there who would have unfortunately fronted the costs like this, willy-nilly, no questions asked. So thankfully, she didn't bloody pay. But Max here asks the all too important question.
How did this not seem really sketchy to you?
I've never been in a situation like this, so I didn't know what the red flags were.
See, Lucille, as I said earlier, seems like a nice enough person, do you know what I mean? But the logic here hurts my brain. Obviously, a very exaggerated example, it's hyperbole, but I've never climbed an active volcano. I'm not going to dip my toes in just for the sake of I've never been in a situation like this. It doesn't mean you need to jump headfirst into situations just because you've never experienced them. Why did I say it like the eggs? Let's break the egg here. Stop walking on eggshells. Yeah? Trust your gut. I don't think basically you need to experience a situation like this to exercise some common sense and exercise some holding back. Control yourself. And you definitely don't need to experience a situation like this to pay for someone else's bills. Please?
I thought that I was going to be leaving Philadelphia, getting this really awesome job at a major record label.
Okay, so we got a bit of the classical, here is a job I'm offering you, and it's actually not a job, but somehow I'm going to steal your time, your money, maybe some sensitive information. Is there a fourth one? Steal your dignity in the process. I just said that just to make it 4. Not fantastic situation, just to make that joke. But yeah, basically, if you are offered a job, you know, through WhatsApp, for example, I get a lot of text messages saying, we got this job where you sit and watch TV shows for $100 an hour. Yeah, I'd love that, but I'm sorry that doesn't exist, so be aware of jobs that come your way.
But I'm the type of person like, no, sweetheart, you're just not going to run over me and think I'm just going to lay down and take it.
Fair play to Lucille, because I guess she showed some restraint here. As we touched on earlier, I do know a lot of catfish victims would have actually paid that money, so fair play to her. She hasn't really lost the most, hasn't really been swindled the most in comparison to other victims that we have covered on this channel, but time has been lost. You know, time wasted is time lost, and that time can never be regained. Or along those lines, the saying goes. I will admit, though, that when I'm watching this, I don't really understand what the catfish gets out of this. Like, I am assuming they are living the high life with limo rides and having teams with them and rocking up to appearances pretending to be someone. But, like, what do you get from it, though? Other than, like, the satisfaction, maybe, of pretending to be someone famous. Like, I don't know, it's just a bit strange to me. I was initially thinking, like, do they actually stay in these hotels that gets booked for them? Do they actually appear to, like, the bloody schools? Do they show up? I guess so. But, like, again, why? Nev and Max end up Lucille in her own home. You see how easy it is, everyone, to meet someone in person? And she explains why everything was so exciting to her.
Here, I am pretty much struggling. My job's not paying me that much. But then I was told you could be hired with the label, you know, that was like the big light.
See, I completely understand that, because as someone who has financially struggled a lot, I understand the sort of desperation and jumping at the first opportunity of a job, especially a job that is like this. You know, it is too good to be true.
Was there any specific mention of the kind of salary you'd be getting?
I think I had settled on like $70,000.
I'll tell you for free, American salaries always blow my mind, all right? Now, I know, obviously, that it's not always that figure. It's not always in that ballpark. And there are very much individuals who are unfortunately struggling financially as well. But a lot of salaries that I see posted online on job boards and stuff are these crazy high salaries. And like, it's crazy to me, obviously, because I don't live in America, shock horror. But when you think about it, I guess, you know, you guys have to pay for like health insurance and stuff, so it kind of makes sense. I do want to emphasize, though, more importantly, that no matter how much you are struggling, and obviously I'm not in your shoes, you know, this person's not in mine, XYZ, I do want to say, even if you are struggling, please don't just accept these jobs that come your way, because they often are too good to be true. You're doing a very little amount of work for a lot of money, and you will, unfortunately, be scammed in the process. So please, I know you might be financially struggling, but it's not worth being swindled and potentially losing more because of it. So please, watch out for yourself.
I talked to a couple cop friends of mine, and they said it's really nothing criminal. it's more of a civil matter.
I don't know how likely this is, but I do hope one day that policymakers in the government or authorities, I don't know who needs to be in charge of doing this particular decision, but we need to criminalize catfishing, in my opinion, because the devastation that it can cause in some instances, I believe warrants some sort of authoritative intervention. Because not only does the victim sometimes lose hefty amounts of money, obviously their sensitive information sometimes can be stolen, and that can be used for further crimes. Sometimes there's cases of money laundering in these catfishing cases that happens, in romance scams, for example. But then also the mental health aspect. You've victimized this individual to the point sometimes where their mental health greatly suffers. And look, I don't want to go too much into detail, but the devastation it can cause when someone has been, financially ruined like this, and mentally they suffer as well. And there'll be cases where people don't have people around them or the resources to reach out for professional support mentally. And unfortunately, the devastation continues, if you can understand what I'm saying. So please, someone out there, criminalize catfishing, because it is ridiculous. And if you want to look at things not from the victim's point of view, the catfish themselves, I believe, have serious issues that need addressing, because they will continue if no one checks them on this, and more people will suffer. So, criminalize it, please.
Police! Police! Help!
Lucille talks about listening to Kid on SoundCloud, and she shares some messages that they exchanged, and one of the messages has some famous names on a list of birthday party guests that she received. And I just want to go through some of them. Obviously, you've got Big Sean, you've got Kanye West, you've got Pharrell, who I assume is Pharrell Williams, right? The happy song guy. So I asked the question again, Lucille, not to piss on your bonfire, okay? How are you the special guest with names like this? And I don't want to put them on a pedestal, because if you've seen the channel before, I don't put people on a pedestal. Celebrities are regular human beings like us, but they operate in different circles to us, which makes them different to us regular schmegulars, if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, they're human beings. I personally don't think you should put them on pedestals. You could be a fan of them, sure, but I don't really see the need to become obsessed with them, if that makes sense. But anyway, how are you the special guest when there's names like this? Do you know what I mean?
It's like everything that I'm doing is pretty much a test as far as how I'm going to perform if I'm with the label.
I get that. I mentioned it earlier. It gives the vibes of an internship. But come on now. Internships nowadays, please start paying people working. Oh, and also, if you haven't met the actual person, it's not an internship. It's an out-turnship, because you get out of there. I told you it doesn't get better. Their relationship starts displaying some abusive signs because Kid Cole starts guilt-tripping Lucille.
It was always, nobody loves me, everybody just wants to be with me because I have money, I'll be better off dead.
It's got you hooked emotionally and,
psychologically.
See, I'd urge everyone in real life as well to watch out for manipulative shit going on like this, especially in situations where people don't get their way, because when you're using death and when you're using, obviously, taking your own life like this, in a way, you need serious help.
He always threatens, well, I'ma call Kanye, people gonna get fired. Kid.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Kid. As time goes on, he genuinely sounds more and more like a kid. Back in the day when those people used to say, I'll get my big brother on you. Or they'll have like a proper madman cousin that they're gonna call on you just because they are doing shitty things, but because you've called them out, oh, I'm gonna, get someone to physically violence on you. Get a grip of yourself, okay? But Max brings up a good point, but again, I'm confused.
Everything is done by me.
This is what scares me. You hired the driver.
Yes.
You hired the security guys. They could easily think that you were the one executing the scam.
See, that's true. I get that. But like, this guy being a catfish, yeah, is he actually getting in the car with the limo driver? Is he actually using the security teams? I'm trying to piece it together in my head, but like, I can't understand what you're getting from this. Like, maybe I'm just being dumb AF, yeah, but someone in the comments let me know, especially if you've seen the episode initially. Like, am I the only one confused watching this? Miguel obviously has done a runner, he's vanished, he's done Roadrunner even, the woodpecker Donny, so fast. But Kid actually comes back, contacts Lucille, asking for credit card details because the transportation company needs valid credit card details, but his details have been blocked.
Mr. Krabs, I am so confused.
What the f*** does any of this mean, bro?
The whole story is complicated. There's lots of parts and players and monies.
Yeah, no shit, Nev. I'm struggling here as well, bro. Nev and Max call Allison, who's their MTV music supervisor for the show or something, or maybe for the actual MTV. I don't know, she's a music supervisor, alright? She got all eyes on the music. Just to get a sense of who Kid Cole actually is, because surely she would know, right? Allison confirms, unfortunately, that anyone can make a music page on the MTV website. So I guess it's like a Wikipedia page, sort of. Anyone can edit it and whatnot. And shock horror that she's never heard of anyone by the name of Kid Cole. But she will reach out to the label, Good Music, I think it was, who's, Kanye West's label. Probably not right now, but like back in the day. I don't really know too much about what Kanye West's got going on in his life. But she's gonna reach out and get back to them. They search for Kid Cole on the interwebs, and apparently this picture right now is him standing with Kanye West on your right. I promise you, that is not Kanye West, okay? Maybe that's like a Kanye East or something, but that is not Kanye West. I don't need to see the full face to even say that. They play a song that they find that has Kid Cole in its title, but it's not even attributed to him. They play a song from SoundCloud, and I think they used like a Shazam style app, which I think was called Soundhound or something like that, which when you play a song and then you use the app, it tells you what that song is. It's useful for like when you are hearing lyrics that you like the sound of, but you don't know the name of the song. Maybe you're in a retail store or something like that, and this isn't an advert for Shazam or other services similar, but sponsor me. Obviously, they do that and find out, oh, shock horror, this is not his song. The song is actually by the name of someone called Lil Martin. So, Kid Cole has stolen Lil Martin's song. I'll never understand the craze of all the Lils in the music industry. Why are there so many Lils? Obviously, there's like Big Sean and stuff. Yeah, he's big, but like, there's too many Lils. Shut up. They search for Miguel's phone number, which Lucille had, and it's come up registered to someone by the name of Stone Cold Jerez, which, supposedly, Kid Cole's actual name is Jerez Coleman. So you see the play on words there? Stone Cold as well? What, is he a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin? No hell yeah on this. I give you a hell no. They search Kid's actual phone number, and that too is registered to someone by the name of Stone Cold Jerez in Washington, D.C. Okay, so I'm putting down, or I'm picking up what you're putting down. But pick up what I'm putting down. What about if they search for Jerez Coleman himself?
Wow, there's a Facebook page called Kid Cole Scam Artist.
We'll go to that.
Scam alert, Kid Cole scam. Kid Cole, aka Jerez Coleman, is a scam artist who have scammed many in the DC area.
Well, shiver me timbers. Shout out to Cole Palmer. Look at what a few Google searches gets you, everyone. Let this be known. Look how quick you can find a dodgy individual, or at least some remnants of a case, story, file. You know what I'm saying. But just because, devil's advocate, if nothing comes up when you search for someone online, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're real. It more so means that perhaps details have been deleted because their account, their social media perhaps, was used for scams many times and they just had enough. Or it's a fake generated number, for example, or it's a photoshopped image that has not been used previously, so bear that in mind.
I am mad as hell. My best friend Loretta has been duped by Kid Cole. She is an independent limo driver and was contacted on February 2nd.
Just happened.
Whoa. My friend is out thousands of dollars and completely devastated.
So, am I right in assuming that whoever this catfish is that's using the limos, doing these appearances, the security teams, whatnot, they are the ones who are not being held liable for the payments because someone else is in charge of setting up the payments or setting up the service? Am I right in assuming that? If I am right in thinking that the other person is liable for the payment, bro, I don't even know how the brain functions to live in that sort of way, that lifestyle. They reach out to Loretta, the limo driver that we just touched on, and she also gets back to them saying that she does want to share her story. Before they head out to DC to meet Loretta, they first inform Lucille of all the information that they found out, and understandably she's upset and confused. Lucille accompanies them on their journey to DC, and they get a call whilst in the car from Allison. She's called back, ring ring, what have you got for me, baby? Shock horror confirms that nobody's heard of Kid Cole, even in his label.
He has no affiliation to Kanye. He's a total imposter.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he was dropping names like he had it like that.
You know, I just picked out this particular part to say that if you don't have it like that, don't be afraid to just be yourself, alright? I know, obviously, this catfish isn't really interested in dating, it seems, but in the romance world, in the friendship world, XYZ, just be you. If you don't have a lot of money, just be you. And the right people will gravitate towards you anyway. Don't pretend to be anyone but yourself in the hopes of, I guess, meeting other people who like you for the facade that you're putting on rather than the actual you, because then that's not a real relationship with them, you know? And, you know, I just want to caveat this with, just because I say be yourself, it doesn't mean if you're a shitty human being and you hurt people in the process that you should just be like, I'm just being myself, because I hate that. I hate when people obviously hurt other people and they say like, it's just who I am, I can't change myself. Get a grip of yourself. Acknowledge your actions, take responsibility for the fact that you're hurting other people, and maybe your behavior is even hurting yourself here. You're a detriment maybe to your own self. Acknowledge that and get professional support if you need to be, because I'm just being me is not a good enough reason to be a dickhead, alright? And maybe you like being a dickhead, but there will come a point in life where you've isolated yourself from everyone around you because they've had enough of your bullshit, and then what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Get a grip of yourself. They meet up with Loretta the next morning, and she provides an itinerary that the young man had provided.
Look at this.
2 weeks ago.
Just 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Our company was the one that he scammed out almost $8,000.
She explains that she got a call from a New York number saying that Kid Cole needed some transportation.
And I said, yeah. And we went and Googled this gentleman. He had like events in DC where he was with Kanye West and Jaden Smith.
Okay, so like here at this point in the episode, I was like, okay, I'm like 99.9% sure that this person is swindling people in the effort to live a high life, sort of.
So the next day, we picked Mr. Cole up. After that, we went to this place to eat and found out that he didn't have enough money.
Okay, what else you got? What other scam trope are you gonna throw at me?
And found out that he didn't have enough money to pay the bill. He texted us the next day, said that Kid Cole was robbed the night before of his wallet and of $800.
Right? He really took the I left my wallet at home excuse, remixed it, shoved it up his ass, pulled it out, slapped some robbery in there, and just chucked it back out there and said, yep, that's the story I'm sticking with. Loretta actually goes on to describe a strange experience that she had at Kid's house. So she dropped him off. Kid's grandmother invited her in. Kid's mother was also in the house, but she didn't question the fact that Loretta was in the house because Loretta was asking, you know, where is he, blah, 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 sort of come to some sort of what the hell is going on because of the whole itinerary and stuff like that. But the mother didn't question anything.
And as I was leaving, the grandmother was like, Loretta, they've been staying with me for 2 months. I think they're homeless. And I was like, I got them.
So not only is he pretending to live a high life, are his mum and him homeless? Now, I understand if they are homeless, as someone who has been homeless, I understand you wanting to essentially simulate a life that is not the current life that you're living in an attempt to somewhat live a normal life. But you don't go around hurting people in the process. Now, when I was living in a hostel, for example, I would go to school and nobody would obviously know that I'm in a hostel, but I would just be normal. I would be the usual class clown, do you know what I mean? I didn't really try and let what was going on outside of school affect my personality in school. But at the very same time, obviously, when school was over and you had to go home, in quotations, I didn't even want to leave because, like, that was normal for me, not going back to the hostel. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I understand you trying to live that normal life, but again, you don't hurt people in the process, you know? Loretta says that her friend, who's a paralegal, actually done a search on bloody Kid Cole and found that he had an arrest record for frauds and felonies, and that he actually had a court date, obviously, in the upcoming Monday, which is ludicrous once again to me that this is happening. Later that night, Nev, Max, and Lucille end up calling Jerez, and yes, to be honest, I'm going to abandon the Kid Cole name here because it's bloody not real, do you know what I mean?
Hello, is this Jerez?
Okay, so I'm gonna assume he's just woken up here, or he's been out late at night partying with Kanye West, done a bit of karaoke. I wanna make love right now, now, now. I wanna scam you right now, now, now. And baby, pick up, I'm a catfish now. I know that's not Kanye West, it's a con. But I just, you know, it's karaoke. It was too late. I started singing it. Whatever. Or he's got fraud stuck in his throat. You dirty individual.
This is Nev. I have a TV show on MTV, Catfish.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's well and truly shat the bed now, huh? He's awake now.
We've been hearing a lot about you and sort of the famous Kid Cole.
Oh, so was it a good thing?
Oh, the bed. The bed is well and truly stinking now. Yeah, the host of a catfish show is calling you because they've heard good things about you. Sure. Yeah, alright, man. Nev puts Lucille on the call, and I'm gonna show you this clip, and just tell me how much of the oh-so-great friendship you can feel oozing out of the call.
Hey, how you been?
Okay.
You been okay?
Yeah, someone needs to call the hosts of How Clean Is Your House. Who remembers that show? Because the mattress that this man is sleeping on right now can no longer be slept on. It's no longer suitable for human consumption. It's a biohazard now. The shit is radioactive. He eventually does, shockingly, agree to meet up the next day. And obviously, he texts them the location.
Hi, what's up? Let's meet at Yards Park at 12:30 in the afternoon.
You know, I love the fact that he says that he also is excited to meet up, because what does he think is going to happen here? Does he think he's going to be able to swindle the Catfish hosts? Like, I don't understand the logic that is happening right now. They arrive at the location, and just look at this visual right now. The Donnie is stood by the water as if this is some sort of shitty Hallmark movie. He's just been dumped by his lover of 15 years, and he's doing that scenic shot with a monologue playing in the background. Man, why did she leave me? What's going on? And also, where the hell is security? Like, he's meeting people he's never met for the first time, yeah? Where are the security? Where's Mr. Big Shot security in this moment? They obviously walk up to him because, I mean, if you just filmed him standing there and just left, I don't know what kind of show this would be. Lucille and Jerez share, like, one of the most awkward hugs I've ever seen in my life. And then Max shakes his hand, and this face is not the face of someone who is comfortable in the situation.
I've been, just relaxing and so forth, just doing some stuff down here.
Doing some scamming, is it? Allegedly at this point, I must stress though, allegedly. You don't look relaxed though. So the relaxing that you're doing is probably very wrong. He mentions having a couple of projects going on. He's working with Wale, and then he's going to go and work with a Wu-Tang member. Wu-Tang? Also, you're really big time, is it? Which brings me back to where is your security? You just stood by the water, willy-nilly, by your... Where is your security, man? Oh, that's right. You know, how can you get security? Because nobody paid for this, I guess. They ask him if he's ever seen The Catfish Show, and I need you to pay close attention to his face in this clip, because if you're gonna be a catfish, at least be confident.
No, I never, ever did. So, that's it.
If you guys remember the previous episode that we covered, I'll put it in the description box or the pinned comment. The catfish, I'm not going to spoil it, but the catfish in that episode, they were so confident. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't put anything past them. They were stuck in their ways with their story. Jerez is the complete opposite here. Obviously, this is all allegedly at this point. I just need to stress this. But Lucille asks him some questions, and he just starts crumbling even more.
Like what? I'm lost.
You're lost?
Yeah, really. I am.
His acting stinks so bad. Like, obviously, this is still all allegedly. It stinks. So, like, if you was to be on a set with him, you would wonder if someone cracked one of those fart spray pills or whatever they are. It's so bad. You know, it gives me the vibes of, like, low-budget mafia movies. Like, the facial expressions and, like, yeah, sure. Like, get a grip of yourself. He obviously denies everything, says he's legit, says he's got documentation to prove that he's an artist and all this kind of BS. And then he throws his classic threat into the mix.
I'm not a fraudulent person. Everything I do is correct, so. And I have people around me that's like, have some powerful people behind me, so.
Man, like, who gives a shit, mate? I don't understand what he thinks or expects people will do when he says this. Like, should people quiver in their boots? Like, even if this is true, allegedly, yeah, is Kanye going to sweep down from the heavens above like Batman and protect you? What are you on about? Lucille starts going through the story again to sort of jog his memory, because it seems as if he hasn't got the stamina to even walk in this memory. And I swear to you, he couldn't give a shit. He's looking at his phone, he's scrolling. I'm 99% sure he's doing that fake scrolling that you do when you're trying to go somewhere and you've gone in the wrong direction based off of your maps. And then, you know, you look at your phone, you're like, and then you turn back around so that you don't look like a complete fool. And the moment I've been waiting for ever since reading Saundra's recommendation happens.
I like that case. Can I see that?
Well done. That is absolutely great stuff. Okay, that is exactly what I would have done. If I'm being entirely honest, my show would have been cancelled right there and then because I would have done the same thing. I'm not sure if you can get away with stuff like that nowadays, just chucking people's phones into waters, but I respect it. If anyone says Nev is being too disrespectful or maybe too harsh, consider allegedly the fact that this guy has wasted so much people's times. And I think I butchered that sentence, but who cares at this point? He's wasted time, he's wasted hard-working people's money because they ain't doing the job for free. Do you know what I mean? And the least you could do in this situation is give eye contact to the person who's felt so strongly about being swindled that they've reached out to gain professional support in a way. Like, show some respect at the very least. And that is what irks me a lot about people who have done wrong. It's not the fact that you've done wrong. Yes, of course, you've done wrong and, you know, you've made my blood boil. But at the very least, show some respect when you're being confronted. It's giving spoiled teenager, you know, when they're being disciplined and then, you know, they're just on their phone and their parents are just talking to them. That's what it's giving. F that phone. Kanye can get you a new phone, mate. Nev and Max, again, this is the second episode that I've covered of the US show where they get pulled off camera and Nev apologizes to producer for losing his patience, whilst Lucille and Jerez continue their conversation.
Were you pretending to be Miguel, or?
No. I don't like revealing, because I'm a very private person, I don't like revealing everything.
Ah, yes, the private person wanted to meet up and was willing to meet up with a TV show, but like he doesn't want to talk with all the cameras and like what? Also, it's a simple yes or no question. Like just answer yes or no. I always believe that if you were innocent, you wouldn't have a problem revealing information, even if the information is embarrassing to you. I feel like if you're innocent, you just say it, you know? The whole thing, surprisingly, gets shut down because Jerez says he's irritated. Nev apologizes to Jerez, and Jerez says that they can come and meet him in his studio the next day because that's where he'll be, and he'll prove them wrong, he'll shut them up and whatnot. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. The next day, in the car, on the way to the studio, Max points out that he will soundhound the Shazam stuff. He'll do that again whilst in the studio to really, you got songs of your own, or are you just trying to swindle us again? I do want to show you guys the actual surrounding location of this studio, by the way. Look at the screen here and tell me that doesn't belong in some sort of horror movie, where people have booked an Airbnb or something and they've been given like some haunted cabin in the woods. Like that's what that looks like. Why are you there? Why are you producing music in the middle of forest like that? And I think I said music. I became a cow. Moo.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Once they arrive, they end up obviously meeting Jerez because, shock horror, he told them to meet them there. But also his sound engineer is there, and his name is Hadi. Or Hadi, I think it was Hadi. Obviously, speaking of Hadi, can I just show you his shifty acting allegedly as well?
Most of these artists just recorded here, and just mixed and engineered all of this, so.
Wow. See, maybe he is an actual sound engineer. maybe he does actually work with a lot of artists like this, because surely hiring a studio for a scam would be overkill, right? Surely. But anyway, the way Hadi speaks, it gives false bravado. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's sort of exuding this arrogant vibe. Like, I get it. You've worked with, potentially, some big names. But it doesn't seem like the confidence is real. Also, like, I've just thought of this now, yeah? Let's say that Jerez is a real artist. Why is he not paying people regardless? Huh? Like, let's say he is a real artist and he's doing limo rides, hotel, blah, blah, blah. Why is he not paying people? Like, surely that means you're still a scammer regardless. Like, maybe you're not a catfish, but you're still a scammer then. Do you know what I mean? Hadi and Jerez play one of their songs, and shock horror, it's not one of their songs. And then Nev asks to jump in the booth, record a little something, and as I promise you, it's so funny watching Hadi and Jerez struggle to use all of the equipment.
I don't even know, like, I'm trying to, for some reason, the track isn't trying to record.
Like, I don't even know how long actually they spent trying to make the microphone work. You are a sound engineer, bro. And the track itself didn't want to record, did it? Not you actually using the track. I didn't know music had a mind of its own like that. This next part is hilarious because Hadi literally gets up from the chair, yeah? He like runs outside and there's a random Donny outside who's apparently his friend that he just starts speaking to, saying the microphone doesn't work and all this bullshit. At this point, I gave myself a little slap because I was 99.9% sure that this studio is actually this guy's studio. The random Donny just outside in the snow, by the way. It's his studio. And yes, they've used his studio to do this. Like, that's what I was thinking. And shock horror, Hadi has no choice but to spill the beans. Heinz, sponsor me.
So you're not the...
No.
So you don't live here?
No.
You know, I think Hadi should have pursued a career in the music industry because he starts singing all willy-nilly, you know? Singing, snitching. Do you get it?
Damn, bro, you got the whole squad laughing.
He says he's only known Jerez for a month and that Jerez called him looking for a studio, but Hadi's never actually seen Jerez recording anything. I'm glad that he confessed because his acting was so shit, alright? And I don't know how much longer I could have sat there watching him do this. Obviously, Jerez, like, has no other option here but to confess and open up a little bit about why he's doing everything. I mean, of course, he could have just continued on with the whole charade, but I guess I'm glad that he's opened up now.
The only thing I want to do is just to have the break, the opportunity to show people what I can do. Because with me making music, I actually really know what the heck I'm doing, and I'm really good.
Although I might take what I just said back, because are we still being catfished here? What do you mean you're good? You don't know how to operate a microphone, bro. You don't actually have songs of your own. Like, it's quite concerning that I think Jerez has created this fantasy world, and I think it is attributed to him potentially being homeless. It hasn't really been confirmed or anything yet, because the grandmother said, I think they're homeless. I mean, how do you think? You know or you don't? I was a bit confused on that regard, but I guess if he's putting up this facade that he's not, then the grandma would also be confused. But nevertheless, this fantasy world he's created, like, I truly believe he thinks it's real.
We drove around with a very lovely woman who recently drove you around just a couple weeks ago, who spent $3,000 of her own money renting fancier cars for you because Suburban wasn't good enough.
So my assumptions, I guess, were correct. He wanted to live a high life, and this all made him believe that he was living the actual life of an artist.
I mean, basically you're trying to like humiliate me.
No, you humiliated yourself.
I love the fact that that's the first thing that comes to his mind. You are hurting me. No apology for wasting people's time. No apology for wasting people's money. You are embarrassing me. It's just typical of someone who takes no accountability. Do you know what I mean? It's all about them, never about the actual people that they've hurt. I wish people like this would just take responsibility rather than spin the situation to make themselves the victim. But unfortunately, some people very much are professional victims.
I'm not going to allow you to disrespect my talent because I actually am talented. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Those are good, hardworking people who are struggling now because of some of the choices you've made.
I can't lie, watching him was excruciating, you know, like him sort of squirming into every nook and cranny of the conversation to try and justify what he's done and why he's allowed to do what he's done. It's just infuriating. Things end up getting cut again because the producer calls for a breather and bloody hell, like the producer's kind of being lenient here.
I'm not trying to deceive people, scam people. That's not.
But that's how they're gonna see it.
I said this earlier, but if you're not paying people what you owe them, you're just scamming them. I feel like I've said this particular part a few times now, but Jerez opens up about why he's doing all this, but like genuinely, I think I've already said that, and he just keeps retreating.
I'm sorry, I can't handle this.
3 times. Like the haters shut the hell up. Because everybody can be like, well, since you think you're this big bad white and Channel limo and like cars and everything like that, so I don't think you're serious.
So you let pressure of peers, society, you let it dictate your life and you hurt people in the process. Is that what I'm supposed to get on board with? And how does scamming, like how would that even get you connected to the right people? Like I assume when you're living this high life or whatever, yeah, other artists would gravitate towards you. I think I mentioned earlier on something similar, but just be yourself and the right people will gravitate towards you if it's meant to be. Because I don't think big artists look at you in the limo and say, oh, I need to work with this guy, sign him to my label. I just don't think that's how it works. You know, Kanye doesn't see you sitting in a limo and then drop everything to sign you to the label. I just don't understand. By the way, it's all still me in this situation. You know, like there's still no accountability for the fact that he's scammed people. He goes on to open up about being in a shelter and being in foster care.
They asked, what do you want to, it's like, I want to be a music producer, I want to make beats and everything. And then that's when like the social worker was like, you're not gonna like be anything, like you can't make music. It didn't take me seriously. I really got pissed off.
First of all, maybe I'm not in a position to criticize a professional, but I think that social worker didn't do their job properly. The social worker here, I just don't feel like that's how you should navigate speaking to anyone, by the way. You know, shutting down someone's dream. I've said before that sometimes you have to be realistic, but that's with yourself. If someone wants to chase after a dream, an ambition, you let them. If it's not causing them any harm and they're not becoming a detriment to themselves, you let them chase their dream. You know, the world is shit enough as it is. And if someone has this sort of something higher that they're chasing towards to help them get through day to day, you shut the hell up and you let them do it. But going away from that social worker who, look, I really hope that they got additional training in their job. I don't want to say that I hope they lose their job because I don't really know them, but I hope they got extra training because you're telling a young person to not chase their dreams. Like, I don't know what kind of social worker you really are, but anyway, this isn't really about chasing a dream. This story, why he's scamming people. You don't hurt people to chase your dream. Again, I'm not sure how this would get him to a point where he's achieved his dream, but you don't hurt people in the process. I've mentioned a few times now, but this is more so him simulating a lifestyle and using people to climb up a so-called ladder, I guess, some sort of hierarchy in the music industry. But this isn't the way you go about doing things. It's not about, or this isn't how you propel yourself. You don't do this. Eminem once said in a song, and I think it was the Stepping Stone song, and I'm obviously paraphrasing here, but on the way back down, like obviously you've climbed up, right? You're at a certain point in life or whatever. There might come a point where you are coming back down. For whatever reason, something's gone wrong, maybe XYZ, and you're coming back down. You're no longer up there, so to speak. And you will come across the people on the way back down that you stepped on the way of you going up, if that makes sense. And it's just all about respect. Those very same people you stepped on to get to where you need to be. Now you look like a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? You look like you look like a dickhead anyway because you're stepping on people. But when you are now at the same level as everyone you've stepped on, you're just a shitty human now. I liken it to when people make fun of others for a disability or looking a certain way. And I think I've said this in a recent video, you never know, click of the fingers, you could also be in a position where you are struggling with a disability. So just be respectful, Jerez goes on to say that he'll make the changes in his life, but let's be honest, only time will tell, But also, the fact that he still hasn't apologized is really grinding my gears. No sorry has exited his mouth, like in any part of this. It's insane. So that leads me to believe that I don't actually believe that he will change. But, time will tell. The team and Lucille now go back in their car, and Lucille thankfully understands a very important rule.
Now I know that if it's too good to be true, then it probably is.
And it's really as simple as that, everyone. If something does seem too good to be true, it often is. But in the off chance that it does seem too good to be true, and it actually is true, if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. You don't have to jump through hoops. You definitely don't have to front money for it to happen. If something will happen, it will happen. They check in with Lucille 2 months later, and surprisingly, shout out to all my criminal justice peeps out there, she actually started studying criminal justice in college. Like, she was traumatized so much that she thought, you know what, I'm gonna get into the criminal justice field, and maybe one day I'll hunt down catfishes. Shout out Lucille. She does seem to well and truly have bounced back. She seems to be doing all right. But she says something that I just want to pick out.
I have a big heart, and I like to help people, and that can be a blessing and a curse.
Correct. I always say, be cautious with who you give your time to, of course. But don't let yourself shut out everyone, because there are still good people in this world. And I do hear the big heart thing a bit too much, maybe. And whilst I understand it, having a big heart, quote unquote, if in the literal sense you have a big heart, definitely see a doctor about that, because, that's not good. But in the metaphorical sense that you have a big heart, it doesn't mean that you should bend over backwards for people. You can very much have a big heart and still look out for yourself. And if the other person has some sort of issue with you looking out for yourself, then, realistically, they weren't meant to be in your life and they don't understand humans. And as we come to the closing stages, if you think Jerez has changed his ways, Lucille has some news for you.
The latest thing with him, he's saying that he was the co-producer of Beyonce's Drunken Love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kid be bold.
I mean, that's just wild, right? But if you're thinking, okay, what about like recent times after this episode, then I have some news for you.
A reality TV figure accused of making terror threats against Metro will undergo a mental health evaluation. Last year, Therese Coleman appeared on the MTV show Catfish.
And prosecutors say Coleman, also known as Kid Cole, pretended to be a terrorist. In one case, police say he allegedly called 911, threatening to attack President Obama's motorcade. In another instance, he reportedly threatened to bomb a Metro bus if he wasn't paid $15 million.
I promise you, I did not expect that. He was sentenced to 21 months in prison and released at like the back end of 2016, but then got arrested again. An arrest warrant in 2018 was issued on him because he was pretending to be Alicia Keys' DJ to gain access into schools in Philadelphia. He was reportedly going into the schools, obviously claiming to be in the music industry, but to give like speech or something on why kids should stay in school. Bro, this thing gets like batshit crazy. This is what he's apparently reportedly says. In a message sent to CBS 3 on Twitter, DJ Silent Assassin reportedly said, typos included, "No crime happened, nor am I a threat to anyone, nor am I faking to be anyone. I actually make music. I'm officially or actually an official music producer, so I'm not understanding what's the problem." I mean, first of all, DJ Silent Assassin. I'm not sure if Alicia Keys would have a DJ by the name of DJ Silent Assassin, but, you know, sure. I'm struggling to understand here why he's going around to different states, it seems. But anyway, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll come back to that a bit later. Touching on this Philadelphia school aspect, you know, I get it. Maybe physically nothing happened, but you're in and amongst children. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're in a school. Obviously, he doesn't understand, but I hope everyone can see the uproar in having someone claiming to be someone, not actually being that someone, going into schools around kids. Like, if my child was in that school, I'm losing my shit. I'm just going to be honest with you, because what do you mean the school hasn't bloody vetted properly and is just allowing any Tom, Dick and Harry into the school? But then, yes, there is more. Bloody hell. In November 2019, Jerez Nemaya Stone Coleman, appellant, was arrested and charged with 1 count of theft between 25 and 100 grand and 2 counts of identity theft. Following his release, appellant failed to appear at 2 pre-trial status conferences. The court issued a bench warrant, and after appellant was arrested on that warrant, the court bail set at 2 grand with permission to post 10%. So what we just read there was in Maryland. This is like a movie. Going back on what I said with the whole moving to different states thing, you know, first we was in DC, then we were in Philadelphia, then Maryland. It's a movie, bro. Anything more recent, I couldn't bloody find. So if anyone knows of what the hell he's been doing since like 2019, please let me know in the comments, because I genuinely don't think he's learned his lesson. I mean, that might... Oh, why do you say that? He obviously hasn't learned his lesson. And I really hope that in some way, someone can intervene in terms of mental health support, because there must be a reason he's doing this. And I think he needs help, because he keeps stealing from people, basically. And, I mean, going on the whole Obama stuff from that news clip, I mean, bloody hell, like, yeah, it's words he's saying, but, like, how quickly before words become actions, you know? It is concerning. I'm not saying he's 100% gonna do something, but, like, it's just, if you say those kind of things, it's just... I hope he can get help, man. And the authorities, like, first of all, how are you setting a bond of 2K when he's stolen, allegedly, 25 to 100 grand? I don't understand how that works, justice system. Like, and also, if surely you can see that he's doing this seemingly in every bloody state he's going to. I don't... It's like... Allegedly, is the mum complicit as well? Because if the grandma was confused if they're actually homeless or not, do they just move around and do this? Like, it sounds like a movie. I hope he can get some sort of support, man. Hopefully this raises some sort of awareness, because definitely this is one of the more outlandish catfish stories that we've looked at, because he's quite literally a serial catfisher. I'm not sure how many times he needs to be arrested before mental health support is like the way forward. I'll see you guys next time. Let me know of any other stories you want me to cover, and I'll see you then, innit? Like, my brain hurts by the end of this. Bye. Ah.